We're definitely a dev first company. And that's one difference, I think, from Google. Like Google's very much a developer plus company. They're, a lot of their products they're known for are search and ads and like consumer facing. They do have a lot of developer tools, but at the end of the day, they're really focused on consumer led products. Where Skyflow is very developer first, we're an API first company. And for those who haven't heard of Skyflow, Skyflow is data privacy vault delivered as an API. So companies essentially use our APIs to solve things like data privacy, data security, data compliance, and easily use sensitive customer PII, all without breaking privacy. And our goal is to take the space of data privacy and data security that feels sort of on the surface like very complicated and make it as simple as doing a transaction on Stripe or maybe sending an SMS on Twilio. I think what really attracted me to joining Skyflow is I think it's an amazing product that's like solving a real problem for companies, but it's also a new category of technology, meaning there's not necessarily a natural alignment in terms of existing communities. So when it came to community building, we've had to build a lot from scratch. Also, even though the company's been around since 2019, it's a really complicated product to build. You don't just wake up one day and bang a data privacy vault and a solution for data privacy that enterprises are going to use over, a weekend or something like that. So the first couple of years were really spent developing the product. And in terms of community building and going to market, we're really just starting that journey. We really need to bring the technology to the world, build awareness that the solution exists. And I've been really laying the groundwork and strategy and plans for how we do that. And since I've joined, a lot of what I've focused on is kind of just like showing up, like making sure that we have a presence in terms of content and social events and videos and making sure that our messaging feels authentic to an engineering audience and trying to educate the world a solution like this exists and that people need to care about how they treat customer data. And we've done a lot, I think, of work on the developer experience side as well, which I see as sort of the next stage of the developer's journey beyond just building awareness in a community. So essentially, once we've captured someone's attention, how can we give them what they need to be successful and we don't have like a leaky bucket? So we have a product led developer experience team and documentation team. Our head of docs actually was on my team at Google, yeah, and he's amazing. So he joined recently. And I work closely with those teams, making sure that things like our documentation is easy to understand through friction logging and that we're collecting the right kind of metrics and we're establishing baseline metrics and creating feedback loops. And there's still a lot that we need to do, but I think we've made some pretty cool investments so far, like to create a great developer experience. We recently relaunched our doc site, which we built our own doc site from the ground up. And we did that because we really felt like existing tools limited our ability to create like a really integrated product experience where the documentation feels part of the product. I think that's something that you see a lot of times with companies is the documentation feels kind of siloed and essentially companies are sort of shipping their org charts with their documentation, the developer product tool, and maybe the marketing landing page. And that's not an experience that we want. I think the best companies in the world when it comes to developer experience, community building, all those things work together. And then since we're in the data privacy space, we've also tried to build a lot of best practices into the product and make that the default experience and make it really easy to get started. So in the type of data that people store in a data privacy vault is highly specialized. This is like I personally identifiable information, healthcare information, banking information. And the type of data that you're storing tells you a lot about the use cases for how you're going to utilize that data. For example, if you're storing like a social security number, there's really only a few ways that you legitimately use a social security number. Like you need a full social security number for doing things like a credit score. But most of the time, maybe you only need the last four digits for customer verification, or maybe you need to do something like look up whether a social security number exists. But that's really about it. And the data privacy vault understands these semantics and can provide essentially out of the box schemas, connectors to third parties, security and privacy controls based on that understanding it, making it so even a non-expert in the privacy space can do the right things and be up and running quickly. So we're really trying to leverage an expertise within Skyflow in terms of the people there that have a lot of experience in this world and bake their knowledge and experience into the product so that it's just the default and even non-experts can use it.